and I'll stop. We don't have to end. But what I learned in my Toastmasters club is that because I didn't like seek more prestige or power, but it was like a volunteer organization. Like I paid yearly to be a public speaker, to follow the agenda. But I guess my tension started meeting itself when I didn't want more. So this kind of translated into my work life. Like I feel comfortable with myself. I want to meet the objective. I understand hierarchy, but that doesn't mean that I have to suppress myself.
Hmm.
And this
And
is
that
like for
what?
the last 18 months, this is the kind of dynamic I'm meeting with people like, can't we just all be natural, get to the work, do the work, talk to each other? Like, why does this have to be this power play? And I know that you worked in corporate America, so or the corporate life or whatever. And I feel like because I have an interview on January 5th and it looks like a nice company. They have like translation services, technology software, but and I've worked in the finance industry and I worked in the telecom industry and I've worked in different industries, automotive, blah blah blah. But I think right now what I'm facing is I have no inspiration or motivation
For this specific job or for any
for
job?
just any. Because the thing is when you interview, you're trying to be enthusiastic or sell yourself. Oh, I can do this, I could do that, and the person interviewing you is kind of trying to see like, can I deal with this person every day? Really, what it comes down to, like you spend most of your time with people you work with.
Yeah, you spend a lot of time, upwards of 8 to 10 hours a day. I would say 5 days a week, sometimes even six. So, are you suggesting? Are you going to go to this interview on January 5th?
Of course,
Well, what's the there's a are you hoping to land the job?
I don't know.
Is this an in-person interview?
It's a video.
Got it. May I ask what the job is?
It's a project manager. Yeah.
And is that something you have a passion for?
Yeah. And the
Okay,
reason I have a passion for project management is because there's an end goal. And this is
remember
kind
that.
of my conflict because it's like, okay, I'm trying to try out for a full-time job, which is contract to hire, but it's a project manager. So this is why I've been contracting for 18 months, six intervals at a time, is because okay, this is the start point and this is the end goal, and that's it. So I guess my conflict is I've transitioned out of operational work because operations are business as usual, but I like project work.
So it could it just be perhaps that you don't like the interview process, but you like the job?
So so I've shared before, I enjoyed my last project. I enjoyed my last manager when he sat me down and I could just tell by his body language. I was like, oh, he's gonna give me bad news. I know it, but I'm gonna make it easy for him.
Hmm.
And he said, Liza, we don't have budget for next year, so there's a possibility that you and some team members are gonna be cut. And I said, it's okay, I understand. You've been a great manager. You've taught me a lot. And I think that was the most pleasant way of ending things. And he said to me, I'll be your reference. I I will do this and that for you. But I didn't take it personally. I thought it was just a budget constraint. And I for once experienced something very lovely. Like it's not like a personal attack. You're not good enough. You're not this. You didn't try hard enough.
It was a form of closure,
Yeah.
which is what you give people when you block them. You give them a form of closure, right? Wouldn't you say that? That's what I would say. Right. Okay. I get that.
But like with him, I wasn't angry. I wasn't like, he was like, connect with me on LinkedIn. And he's like, I'm here. I'm there for you. You know, with former managers be, beyond that point, I was like, I'm so frustrated with you. I'm so angry. And I think the anger for me ended up harming me because I knew they were all making decisions based on something.
Mhm.
But what I respected about this particular manager is that he was transparent. He was forthright. He didn't do what maybe what I did to my neighbor, like, oh, I sent an email and said I'm blocking you from this point forward because of this, that, and the other. No, he faced me head on. He knew I was going to visit the office. He said to me, you know, he showed me that acknowledgement.
Yeah. So what I mean, maybe this is an avenue to explore. Remember, every job, corporate or not, the job people that you will be working with, they're always different. No two jobs are the same, and no two roles are the same. So, I mean, perhaps this job you interview for on January 5th, maybe when you get the job, because I think you want the job, so I hope you get it, and I'll be sending you good energy. But that maybe the person you're working with will be as considerate and kind as the last individual was. I mean, that's you never know what you're going to get. I mean, my work history in businesses has been, not every job is the same. Sometimes you get a good person to work with, sometimes you get a challenging person, but they're always different. And the idea, at least from my experience, is you always want to learn from those individuals that can lift you up. You want to learn from those that try to perhaps tear you down, but you just, these are experiences, and you take the wisdom and go on to your next job. And your next job, you always bring your A game to do the best you can. But don't think that, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but don't think like all jobs are created equally, because they're not. I mean, this next job could be like the best job you've ever had. You never know.
Right. And I feel that he chose me, my manager, so that my exit note was thank you for choosing me, my hiring manager, and his reporting manager, thank you for challenging me.
Mhm.
Because I remember on the interview, he says, like, we want somebody with fresh eyes who will say it as it is. And that's what I did. And a lot of my peers and my coworkers, they were afraid to speak up. And I wasn't, because I was already prepared. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to say things like you have fresh eyes.
Mhm.
And usually I'm not given that leeway.
Freedom. Yes, I know that. The reason I know that is because in many jobs, there's so much to talk about. Many jobs, you're you're told one thing and you're expected to do something different. Or in other words, the job description, picture any job description you want for any company in the world. Well, most likely it reads like a contract with your phone provider. It's really long and there's 1,000 things to do. At the end of the day, do you end up doing all those tasks? Probably not. You probably do some of them, and other ones get dumped on your plate or added to that. And certainly, I can assure you of this: in many jobs, when the employer finds out the level of talent of the new employee, that employee will be worked harder than they're accustomed, exactly, and they'll be ridden out as long as they can last. Or maybe they're compensated and maybe they're given more responsibilities and making more money. That's the proper way to do it. I'm not so sure that's how things are done many times these days. Exactly, you're agreeing with me. But it's your level of how much of the load you can carry, how much you can take. And if you're an overachiever, which I really don't like to use that word that much, but I'm using it, then you are many times given a larger workload than perhaps an underachiever, who many times is allowed to keep their job and because they're kind of slacking, but they're getting by and they don't want to get let go. That's the world that
And I completely empathize, because I don't mind being deemed the other underachiever, because at least I have something to reach for, right?
Mhm.
I don't mind being that, because if you overestimate me, then I'm like, oh my God, what are you doing? I'd
That's great.
rather I'd rather climb that mountain and show you, like, show you.
That's beautiful. That's being aware. It's good.
Um, but then when I show them, this is the irony or the paradox, that once I show you, yeah, I can do this, that, and the other, and I can do it within 40 hours because I'm not going to bill more, then they're like, well, wait a minute. Are you expecting me to value you? What are you expecting? More money? What are you expecting? What?
Yeah,
So
I read
it's
between
just
those lines.
it's just the irony of it all. It's what I see when I was in my 20s and I didn't have my college degrees and I didn't have experience. I was like, once I do all this, then I'll get respect. No.
Yeah, if we're talking about respect, I will say respect needs to come from within, first of all, and respect in the workplace. I'm sure it exists, but the workplace tends to be more cutthroat and more about me, 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 me. That's at least that's my experience with individuals. The workplace, and this is I'm painting this with a broad paintbrush, so I'm not. So what I'm saying is, many times the corporate or the workplace, let's say, I'll use the workplace, they will sing kumbaya and say, everyone, let's go. This is the best company. Everyone cheer for the company. But then they'll ask you to do fill out a questionnaire about the company. How's the company doing? What are your
And it's
takes?
not anonymous. It's not anonymous.
You are so good because it's not. It's not.